Vénganse, vénganse, vénganse. Vamos a jugar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a llorar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a fumar hoy, hoy, hoy.
Such a hit. Always a hit. Shout out, Luis.
Not on Spotify yet, but one day.
He's coming soon? Ever?
We don't know. Sure.
TBD. TBD. We'll have to get him back in here and let us know, like, hey, what are you doing with this song, though?
Because it's a great song.
But thanks for letting us use it.
Yes,
Welcome, everyone, to another great episode on this frequency. We are on Twitch every Friday as per usual. If you are on the chat, say hello. If you're not on the chat, I think you're running late somewhere. I don't know. Hey, LA Amy, how's it going, girl?
Hey.
Happy Friday. And yeah, you know what? This is a great opportunity to say, if you are not watching on Twitch, give yourself a chance. Watch us on Twitch because we're amazing. We're cute as ever. And sometimes we say uncomfortable things that make us squirm. And it's always like a different take when you're able to watch us be like completely vulnerable, like that one episode that you posted the other day.
Oh,
Ricky.
God, yes. I was in my feels.
I was watching you and then I was watching me and I was like, oh, look at me fidgeting a little bit. So that was kind of cool. So you guys definitely should watch us on Twitch. We're at twitch.tv/on this frequency every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So happy Friday. What do we got going on? Did you guys have a nice Halloween? What else did we have? Dia de los Muertos, this whole shebang.
I can't remember Halloween. Oh, I almost hit a kid on Halloween. I almost hit a kid on Halloween.
What happened?
I did. Well, first of all, I was coming home from work. It was pretty late.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? At work, every Tuesday, they do a safety talk.
Okay.
And so they did it on Halloween, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that there are more children killed getting hit by a car on Halloween. And so I'm getting home. But this is what pissed me off. Like, I was driving normally. Both the car that was coming in the opposite, like we were both, it was fine.
Yeah.
But these kids,
They
just crossed. They didn't even like do this.
Bitches.
They just went straight.
You know, I've been seeing that a lot lately. Mike and I were driving the other day, and some kid is crossing the street on like a major intersection, walking on a yellow light, and there's these cars that are about to turn his direction, and he's not even on the crosswalk. He's basically jaywalking. I'm like, oh, this kid just wants to die.
Jaywalking is legal now.
Oh, is it?
Yes, because I was I
didn't know that.
hang out
everywhere
with,
here.
Yes, so I hang out with Amy, right? And she's a very safety first person, like precautions everywhere, very like just thinks about always prepared.
Yeah.
And then one day we're crossing a street. It's a major street, and she's like, "Let's go." I go where? She's like, "We're crossing the street." I said, "We're jaywalking." Amy, no, this is not safe. These cars can just. I was legit like looking at her like,
right,
you're gonna I was so shocked
because
it felt out of character. I was like, wait a minute, this person who's always safe is just
booking it right now.
Like, are you from New York? Like, what's the deal?
You should have known. You should have known there was something because she was being too thuggish for no reason.
That shit was, and I'm still not. It's legal now, and I'm still not comfortable when she makes me do it.
Really?
It's a major street.
You know, sometimes things like that happen, and I feel like I live under a rock. I have no idea that things like this are happening in the world.
That jaywalking is legal. I don't even know how I found out that it was legal.
I don't think I walk enough places to worry about whether or not jaywalking is illegal.
Fair.
And shout out to Amy, because I know Amy's like always like, she's like a sightseer in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like she's always out and about and experiencing life and shit. That's cool.
Taking it in.
Not us.
And I think it's different because I don't want to put Amy's shit out there, right? But she's from the LA area or just out
Long
that
Beach.
way? Okay. And so I think in the IE it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of us are walking necessarily here in the IE.
We're not walkers?
We take the bus or we take the car across the street to fucking Sprouts, you know?
We definitely aren't running.
We're not running at all. We're not running at all.
But welcome everybody from Twitch, Miss Tanya Marie, LA Amy, GoldenEye 1381. Thank you very much for joining us this I was almost gonna say Thursday night, but it's Friday.
No, it's Friday. We've been doing the thing on Fridays.
We've been
except
doing
that one
the thing.
day.
Yes.
So speaking of jaywalking and all of these new experiences in life that's happening and all this, so the other day, DeLuca and I were doing our thing and we take ourselves out to eat. We go to Cava, right? And
Wait, what's Cava?
I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Cava, Cava, or it's a Mediterranean food place that just opened up by our house. I love it. It's so delicious. And so we actually eat there often. And so, we're driving and park, and then I see that there's this homeless person hanging out in the front door area to walk in, right? But he's just standing there, and I'm kind of taking him in for a little bit before I walk, because it's late at this point, and it's getting dark. And so I'm like...
And it's just you and DeLuca.
It's just me and DeLuca, right? So I'm like, how am I going to approach this, right? Because, we're talking about being vigilant and making sure the safety first. And so I'm like, all right, well, he doesn't seem like he's threatening or anything like that. And I feel bad to say that, but it's just what it is, right? And so, okay, all right, DeLuca and I get down. And so... I'm walking in towards the door, and we lock eyes, and I'm like, okay.
You locked eyes.
We locked eyes, and so I'm like,
why did you look? You're not supposed to make eye contact.
I know. Well, we locked eyes, and so I'm like, do you want something to eat?
There it is.
Okay.
You walked right into whatever's about to happen.
So, all right. So let me ask you guys something. You're homeless, okay?
Well, how do you really know he's homeless?
Oh, he just looked it.
But even if he looks it, you don't know that they're actually homeless.
I mean, he was kind of like the shoes where he just looked a little like he's seen better days.
And
Very thin,
I don't think anyone's just hanging out in a...
Yeah, and just his hair, his whole appearance gave homeless vibes, right?
Okay.
All right, so let me ask you this. If you're homeless and someone asks you, hey, do you want something to eat? But you have a dietary restriction. I'm thinking about this myself because I don't eat meat, right? Do you have a specific order that you're about to give this person? Or do you just say, yes, please, I would love something to eat, and then let them walk off and hope that it's something that you like? What do you do?
If I
You're
was
homeless. You're homeless. Let's say you don't eat meat or you don't eat cheese.
I wouldn't be hanging out in front of a Mediterranean spot. I would find a vegetarian spot to hang out at.
I'd be hanging out at like Whole Foods or
At
something.
Whole Foods or a Taco Bell where I can get a bean burrito.
Listen.
That's where you hang out.
So this guy is like, can you get me a veggie wrap? But no cheese. I'm like, okay, like, do you want meat on it? Like, and so I'm over here. Do you want meat? No, I don't want any chicken. And I'm like, okay, so just veggies? Yeah, just the veggies. So there I go. Okay, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get this. Oh. And then I'm also, well, okay, I get him the veggie wrap or whatever he orders. And then I'm like, well, he might want something to drink. So I'm just going to get him a cup of water, So I get them the water. And I walk back out with all my things and DeLuca. And I'm like, okay, here you go. And I give it to him in the bag. And then I give him the cup of water with the lid. And he's like, oh, no, I don't want water. And I'm like, are you sure you're going to be thirsty? No, I don't want that. And I was like, well, maybe you'll want it for later. No, it's okay. And I'm like, this motherfucker
You can't be mad. You can't be mad at all.
I was pissed because
you walked right into it. You cannot be mad.
And the thing is, it's like,
no.
Why didn't you want water? Aren't you gonna be thirsty? Damn it!
Think about everything. Think about everything. That I think is hilarious. That's what is funny. But I can imagine like homeless people have been through some shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can imagine that. Maybe sometimes when someone says, "Oh, I'll hook you up with some water," and then it's not water or it's there's just so many potential things that can happen.
Between
you don't
that
know.
delivery.
And I'm not saying, obviously, that in his particular case, because he could have just fucking taken the cup of water and left it there and just do that. But, it...
That sounded like an episode of Seinfeld.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's like that would be something.
You walked right into it, though.
That would be something that like George would have like a fucking panic attack with the homeless person. Like, just take the fucking water.
Yeah. I totally did one of the like, here it is. I'm just trying to do the good thing, supposedly, right? And then this fucker, no, I don't want water, but can you please no cheese and no meat? Like, what?
Well, I told you guys about the homeless experience that I had. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but at the gym. About how I was going to the gym with Jody, And we would go every morning, and there was this lady who like hung out right by the gym every morning. And Jody and her son, they befriended them, like they became friends. I would always, hey, good morning, and that was it.
Acknowledge.
I would always acknowledge. Somehow, one weekend, we're working out, and Jody says, oh, man, the lady got hurt.
Oh, no.
Somebody threw like a Molotov bomb at the donut shop that she was at. This lady was all burnt up. That she was hurt.
Shit.
She was hurt, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, okay.
Yeah.
They gave her a thing to go stay in a hotel. Like, so the cops came, they took her to the hospital, they did this whole thing, and then they gave her a voucher to stay at a hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So Jody was like in touch with her, and I was like, oh, dang, like this is terrible.
Yeah.
So Jody says, I think I'm going to get her book another night for her to stay there comfortably. And I said, damn, you know
nice
what?
of Jody,
yeah, I think I'm down to do that too. Let me either pitch in with you, or I'll get her another night as well. Like, she was all, it felt like the right thing to do.
Right,
okay?
right.
So we're walking out to tell her that, hey, we're going to give you an extra room another night.
Yeah.
And she was really disgruntled. And Jody goes, oh, hey, so-and-so, how are you? She's like, I'm just in a lot of pain and da-da-da-da. Yeah, she goes, they tried to offer me a donut right now, and I didn't want them to put it in the microwave, but they put it in the microwave. And like, she's complaining about everything, right? And then Jody's about to tell her, she goes, these fucking immigrants.
Oh, no.
They should have never opened up the borders. She was like, all the Mexicans had just completely ruined this neighborhood. I was like, it was not registering with me what was happening.
Yeah.
Because it went like,
it spiraled quickly.
I mean, quick. So I just kind of looked, and Jody's son, he has a Mexican-American girlfriend. So he and I are looking at each other like, what do you even say?
Yeah, that is awkward.
But then we kind of put two and two together. Every time we would walk to and from the gym, this lady would never make eye contact with me. And even though I would say hello, she would not say hello to me. It was mainly to Jody and Will. So it was all of a sudden, all of that made sense. Needless to say, I learned a lot about her. In her case, she gets a check. Yeah. She does have a place to stay sometimes. Okay. Looks homeless to the point where you would think she doesn't have a place to stay, but she did. Okay. Right. So that's what I'm saying. There's so much deception from an appearance that you don't really know. You can't call anything. Yeah. And that's why he didn't want the water. This lady did not want the donut microwave. I don't want it.
And then at the end of the day,
eat today.
Right. And at the end of the day, it's like we're all human. Yeah. And we all want what we want. And if you're gonna ask, and then I settled with this. I was like, well, duh. If I was asked a question like this, I'm gonna want what I want. You asked me, so I'm gonna tell you my order. Yeah. No cheese, no water. Yeah. Maybe not no chicken today. Because what if he's
lactose intolerant? That cheese is gonna fuck him up.
Then that's what I was thinking.
And then what? You can't comfortably take a shit somewhere. Right. You're trying to eliminate all of that.
Yeah. And he definitely wrinkled his face a little bit when he said oh, no cheese. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not a problem.
Yeah, his life flashed before him because of some traumatic experience.
So that was my week this week. I was like, wow, I didn't really know that this was going to be so complicated. Yeah. But it is. And just fuck me.
Well, I had a different type of week, and one that I was really, really bugging me all week.
Okay, let's hear it.
I use the function, the DJ function in Spotify.
Oh, yeah.
Because it'll rotate music that's already in my library. Yeah. And then it'll give me new music recommendations or themed. Mm-hmm. It's just, you like it? I like how it works. It works well. And on one of the days and the other thing, it keeps wanting to play Eminem for me. Oh. And I don't like Eminem.
Really? Oh, no, I love Eminem. That's for me then. Just forward that playlist over to me.
But I'm like, why hasn't the algorithm figured out?
Yeah. That
I don't like Eminem.
That you keep switching it.
It's not that I don't like Eminem. He's a talented person. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to listen to him. Stop recommending it. So I find that very curious why they insist.
And I'm curious, does the Eminem songs mix or jive with all of the other songs that it recommends?
If it's playing, yes, a specific genre of rap music, sure,
It'll
it could.
include.
But
Isn't
most
there,
of the time,
isn't there like a dislike option for like artists so that you don't get those?
I think there is. I'm there. Well, I'm looking at it right now. There's a little heart. See, so if a song comes up on my, and I don't even use the desktop that often. I use it on my phone. If you heart it, then it's saved to your like music.
Yeah.
It's like there is a different function where I've seen the little.
Yeah, because I know
thumbs up or the thumbs down, right?
Yeah, because with Apple, like you could hit the little 3 dots, and it'll just say like
Remove or something
Right.
like that.
Well, and even then, even if it's not like in the middle of a set, they'll open with Eminem.
Really?
That's why I'm like, I'm just.
Maybe you have to listen to it. Maybe there's something hidden in there.
So that's my thought. That's my idea. Like,
wait, is this the DJ thing right now that we're looking at?
no.
Oh.
No, I don't even know where.
I like that you have Karol G's Bichota season in
Oh
there.
my god. Okay, well, and that came because I was hearing it from the DJ stuff, right? So
I love
I'm in the
it.
car and I'm gonna play you guys a song that I started to hear. Okay, I'm gonna play it now. Here we go. Okay. Stand by.
Yo tengo un novio que mujeriego, me cojo todo y lo cuero con él. Y tengo un padre que se empatilla y se tranca en la cabaña con su mujer. Una mañana.
Oh, I love this.
So do I.
Send this to me immediately.
Cuando le subió la nota, le dio la gota y gritaba así.
Oh yeah, this is all the way
It's great,
belonging
right?
in my playlist. Okay.
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 So first of all, I don't even know what the hell they're saying because it's a totally different dialect of Spanish,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I was like trying to slow down the lyrics and before I looked up the lyrics, right? Just like, where are these people from? Like, this is wild, right?
And their album cover or
Is-
song cover is really fun.
Yes.
It's really creative.
But needless to say, the song is incredibly vulgar.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure of it.
Super, super, super vulgar. And I'm like, I really like this song a lot. I want to play it everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to hear this beat.
Yeah.
But I'm so uncomfortable
With the lyrics.
with the lyrics.
Yeah.
All of like the majority of the songs that I started sampling, it's very sexual.
Yeah.
Right? Very sexual. They do talk about drugs, but it is incredibly
vulgar. I love this music and this genre, and it's very much on trend for me this year. But sometimes I'm uncomfortable listening to it, and I'm like, God, I have a child. Am I allowed to listen to this? I really stop myself sometimes, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't listen to this. This is bad. But I love it.
Not Eight Brand says, I've been assaulted by your music. So low-key, I did kind of feel assaulted, right? When I'm listening to her opening lyrics, I'm like, oh, God, wait, is she talking about herself having sex? And then her dad with another one? Like, it was just
weird.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
But I loved
The beat.
Loved the beat.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it was just...
I mean, when it's good, when it's good, it's good.
When it's good, it's good. And it reminded me of a clip, and I want to play it, but it is only in Spanish. And I was trying to figure out how we could potentially, maybe I should just summarize what it says instead of playing it. What do you think?
No, you have to play it and then summarize it.
Okay.
You got to give us a chance.
you got to give us the full teacher experience.
Yeah.
So
give it the whole
like maybe like 10 years ago, I don't know. When is this video? Where's the year? This guy named Sid Vela.
It usually says it at the bottom,
6 years ago, maybe?
like at the bottom of the title.
Well, it says 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see the 6 years ago. But I think it was longer than that. I think this was just like reposted on somebody else's channel. It's not even his.
Let's say 6 to 10 years ago.
Yeah. So, but it was around the same time that
Like-
that reggaeton was coming out.
Yeah.
Right. So his whole video, this whole vlog, is the 5 things that he cannot stand about reggaeton.
Okay.
Las 5 cosas que me cagan del reggaeton.
Yeah.
The last one is the one that I was dying at. All 4 of them. I'm in the car listening to it for reference again, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday. I was in tears, like hyperventilating, and people next to me looking at me like, "What the hell is going on?"
Going
Like,
through it.
yeah. So this is one of the things he hates about reggaeton.
Número 5, para irnos a la chingada, las canciones de amor. Las canciones de amor. ¿Por qué Chicos, de amor no tienen ni verga. Estás oyendo el pinche coro y tú dices, mira, qué bonita canción, se la voy a dedicar a mi novia. Pero no falta la parte donde aparece el pinche rapero enfermo, se pone a rapear y caga toda la pinche canción con su letra misógina. Mis canciones hablan de violaciones, yo no sé de qué chingados hablan, pero no hablan de amor, pura verga. Ahí vas tú todo pendejo, le pones la canción a tu novia y mi amor, esta canción te la dedico, te va a gustar. A ver... es de reggaetón, me encanta el reggaetón, muy romántico. Y tú y yo en la playa, Puerto Rico, me encanta Puerto Rico. Qué bonita canción. Hasta que llega el rapero enfermo que está rapeando, que me quiere meter un palo de escoba por el culo. ¿Esto me dedicas, cabrón? ¿En serio? ¿Estás enfermo? Mi amor, no sabía que era la letra así, muy enferma. Yo, ¿qué? ¿Que te vas a venir en mis ojos? Porque me quieres. No tiene sentido eso, pinche letra enferma. Pues nomás había escuchado el coro, no conocía la letra entera. Que me vas a pegar con tu verga en la cara hasta que me desmayes. No puedo seguir escuchando esta... Yo me voy, eres un enfermo, cabrón. Mi amor, yo no escribí la letra, no seas así, no te enojes conmigo. Es de mi...
Okay, so here's the thing. That in itself, this video clip in itself is very vulgar.
Yeah.
Not just what he's describing, but how this vlogger himself is speaking.
Yeah.
Because it is intense, right?
Very raunchy.
But basically, to translate it, he's saying that, reggaeton is very vulgar. Like the rappers that come on, just describe some just terrible, like sick things.
Lyrics,
how he describes it. And that's when I was listening to that song. This is exactly what I thought about. I was like, oh my God, this is it. It's freaking scary. It's not scary, but I'm someone that comes, I love 70s music. Born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, right? Mm-hmm. But the collection of music that I fell in love with was 70s.
Yeah.
And it was so the polar opposite of what is playing now.
100%.
So I think it doesn't help me that I came from an era, or I just liked music that was very sincere about love, was very poetic about love.
Yeah.
And this whole...
It meant something completely different.
Oh, completely. And I'm like, is this it? Like, this is where we're going? Like, but how do you top that, right? So that's going to be really hard to top.
Meaning like the type of music, the lyrics, and the vulgarity, or...
So, right. That's really vulgar, right? Mm-hmm. It's just going to get worse, right? Mm-hmm. It can only get worse.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Like, it's gotten worse throughout the years, right?
Right,
then,
for sure.
But how is it going to get worse than this?
I think, is it now? I think my personal opinion would be that it's now the women that rappers, the female that are taking it upon themselves to talk about vulgar things. Right. And that has been over the top and like, oh my God, you're a lady. What do you mean? You're walking around with your clothes off and that's not okay. I think but that's already happening. And I don't know that that's actually as extreme as it really is.
That's always happened though.
What?
Like look at, what's that song that Severe used to always play?
Cardi B?
No, what homegirl, she goes on the cruise. Like she's getting ready for her night. The one he used to do for Feed Me Fridays. He used to break it down.
What?
Oh, it's like an older song.
Yeah.
God.
He's pretty much just talking about how she's gonna pretty much take her down. Like you're gonna ride with me. Like we're gonna do our thing.
Wait, now I really want to know what song
favorite song.
Shit.
Yeah. I have like the song in my head right now.
And he plays it all the time. And he does a whole walkthrough. He breaks down.
Betty Wright. Tonight is the night.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
that's totally different.
No, it's not.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
Because at the same time...
She's talking about her first time.
But in the same time, if we're speaking of vulgarity in context to time...
Right.
If that was written in the 70s or early 80s, that was vulgar in that time.
Sure, right.
So it's not getting worse. It's really the same. It's just more people doing it now.
Can I also add that Spanish it sounds a lot more vulgar than it is.
It's aggressive.
It's a lot more aggressive lyrics in Spanish.
Aren't you guys biased though?
No.
I don't know.
You speak Spanish.
Yeah, but okay, so then we would say no, it's not aggressive.
In comparison to what though?
English? The lyrics in English?
There's more. There's like as far as like expressing, like I could see maybe like the passion and how it's expressed, like certain words, but then too you gotta take into consideration region, right?
Yes.
Because in Mexico we don't speak the same way Puerto Ricans do, even though we say things in Spanish. It's not the same,
Right.
like context, you know, like they say weird ass fucking shit,
Right.
Yeah.
you know. It's just like,
And they can
What-
say the same thing about us, but then,
Yeah.
and then we also don't express. I guess that is right. The expression, we don't express it in the same way. Hence, maybe not as vulgarity. Not a brand said there's always been vulgar music. Look up old early
Yeah.
rock and roll.
Yeah.
records
To
before white
to
people
Ray's
stole
point.
it.
To Ray's point, right?
I
Vulgarity
just
is
think I
vocabulary.
think with today's music, right? Because I think like what you guys are maybe
Just
leaning,
getting older.
you're leaning more into the fact that maybe there's more, because there's more women doing it, I guess, that there's an issue. But I mean, if you break it down, I wouldn't see how that's a surprise, because the same type of women that would sing it were probably the same women that were dancing to it in the past, right? Like maybe Cardi B was dancing around to fucking 2 Live Crew when she was like fucking 3-4 years old.
Yeah.
Today's the 3rd
Yeah.
of November.
Yes.
Okay, so I was on Instagram earlier today, and Megan Thee Stallion, she released the song Cobra. Okay, the video for this, and the thing of it is I guess she covers a lot of deep subjects about her depression and what she went through, and she covers some really like
In the song.
in the song,
Okay.
very deep content.
Okay.
The interesting part about it is that it's also very sexualized, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people were like, how do you put those two things together? Like a serious conversation and then she's naked,
Yeah.
dancing naked. Like it's just, I don't know.
But like, I mean, look what Not A Brand is saying. It's a diverse spectrum of creativity, and it depends on who you're engaging with. I'm pretty sure, respectfully, Ricky, when Homegirl made this song, she wasn't expecting a 40-some-year-old senora from Ontario to be like, "That's my jam." Like, you know what I mean? Like she's
Wait, like the song Cobra?
no, the one that you played earlier. Is that what it?
Oh, yeah.
The reggaeton song.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like,
no, I don't think. And you
We're
know what?
not the
And
audience.
I don't think an artist should ever consider an audience. And I say that cautiously, right?
Well, no,
An
because it's
artist
your art.
It's your art. You're doing it
Do
for
it how
you.
you want,
How
yeah.
you want to do it. Blank. Period. Whatever. I'm playing the Cobra video for you in the background so you can get, because I saw the video
Yeah.
earlier, which is a whole.
Oh.
It's a whole other interesting. See, so she's naked,
Okay.
but done very creatively, right? So
Yeah.
there's, I understood like the comments, and it gets worse than that. Not worse, but it gets more. I want to be.
Right,
I don't want to come
explicit.
off like I'm not supporting what she's
Come on,
doing.
Grandma.
While
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I guess
you're not trying to sound like an old lady.
right. Well, and more so, I'm trying to connect the trauma, right? Because she talks about traumatic things and the sexual part to it. How are they tied together? Because it's she clearly, that's an empowering thing for her. So does this trump your trauma or heal your trauma? Like, why can't?
Well, see, that's the thing. So
like you're trying to find the why to this.
you're trying to connect the pieces to how the correlation of the video to the music and the artist and how they came about, like putting it all together, or like what are you questioning?
If you didn't know what she was talking about, how would you? What do you think she was talking about if you saw this video?
It was Pornhub.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like the
Tie me
WAP,
up in snakes.
the WAP song that
Oh,
Cardi
yeah.
B did,
That's
right?
pretty self-explanatory.
So right, but when you look at the video, it matches what they're talking about, right? Oh, okay, cool. Like this
They're
makes sense,
dancing.
right? So when I see just this video, that's what I'm thinking. My mind is going like, okay, cool, we're gonna do this. But then
Yeah.
you're listening to the lyrics, and you're like, wait, why do I want to have sex and cry at the same time?
Yeah.
Like this doesn't make any sense.
I think the thing that I miss sometimes is, remember like back in the day you would get kind of like even making the video back like on MTV, they would
Yeah.
have
Oh,
making
yeah.
the video, so you would get like an artist's like actual perspective, because a lot of times it's the artist and the director and
Yeah.
producer that are like putting their thoughts and ideas together to create the music video. Mm-hmm. So at least like then we would get to know like, oh shit, this okay, that's why they went from this to that,
Right.
Like, because this is what they're talking about, or this is what it's supposed to feel like.
I'm also
We don't really get that anymore. I don't think we do.
No.
I haven't seen it.
So
Making the video.
So like, listen, here's the first verse, right? Breaking down, and I had the whole world watching, but the worst part is really who watched me. Every night I cried, I almost died, and nobody close tried to stop it. Long as everyone's getting paid, right? So that things
Yeah.
like that, like it resonates with me, right? I'm like, damn, like okay, I get that. Like, fuck,
was
what a
going
terrible.
through it.
You're right. She was going through it.
Yeah.
So in my head, and that's why I said that maybe that the sexual part of it is the empowering part that trumps. I don't know.
I also think like just flat out sex sells.
Right. So is
Sad.
that what it is then?
No, well, it all depends, because it depends on the person who, because the same way that the artist has their creativity and they're allowed to create their way, you're also entitled to perceive and intake
Uniquely.
what they're putting out, and you may not understand it, but that's where dialogue comes, and being able to have these conversations and understanding like what was that about. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not judging it, I just want to know, like,
Yeah. You want the insider's
Yeah.
perspective.
Oh my God, these lyrics. This is heartbreaking. Oh, anyways, Escalade. I'm quite curious because he says that the content of Megan's song and the video marry perfect. So that's interesting from a man's perspective that he's
How many
the
times-
song itself and the video.
how many
marry.
times have you seen the video? And each time that you've seen the video, have you actually taken the time to actually put it together? Or are you just like baffled at the fact that it, at first glance, it never matched to you?
No, you know what? I would describe it more as I was just really curious at that point. Like I was curious. That more than placing any kind of judgment or
No,
I was like,
because-
how is this working?
Because I could imagine that now, if you broke down like in verse, then you would be able to watch it, and then break down the next verse, and then watch it, right? Because then maybe you'll be able to get a better understanding of where the video is leaning towards. Because our first impression is always like a shock. Like, whoa, I was like, even with like the Bad Bunny album.
Oh, that first song, that opening song.
I was not expecting him to come out as fucking hard as he did. And when I first heard Bad Bunny, that was the Bad Bunny I first fucking heard. It wasn't
The one from the first song off of his new album.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
So like, and even him saying I'm not a trap artist, but that was the music he put out.
Yeah.
Right.
When he first came out, before everybody was on his nuts about shit. That was the first, like, one of the first songs that I heard that I was like, oh, this dude is fucking dope, was Kush with him and Nicki and
Nicki
yeah, that shit was fucking hard. I was like,
Yeah.
yo, this fool could actually like
Get down.
he could flow. He like his shit goes like it was.
He was it. He was
Yeah,
on
he
it.
knew what he was doing. And then when he started doing like the more
Like Un Verano Sin
yeah,
Ti,
yeah,
the
like
whole album.
more poppy, and
yeah.
he did exactly what Drake did, right?
the
Like
Latino- he's the Latino Drake.
He came out hard. Then he was like, "Oh, it's for the fellas, but I also got something for you ladies. Like, don't
Yeah.
get it fucking twisted."
Yeah.
And then he figured out, like, "Yo, the ladies support me more than the fellas, so
Yeah, so let me give them something.
let me give
to
you a
sing
little bit
about.
more." Yeah, you know.
And
but
I said, okay.
but it's one of those things where it's like your first impression of it is always the shock. So then you gotta revisit
Re-listen.
it,
Yeah,
and then
Agreed.
rewatch it, and then be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, this is what it is."
yeah.
Because
Whoever produced that video, outstanding work. Like the whole,
It is actually
was
really good.
Beautifully,
Yeah.
it's
Well thought out.
it's outstanding. Like it was quite a thing, right? But and not to shift into a different subject, but it kind of like ties together.
All right.
I want to know your guys' opinion on wearing. Oh, Mia's gonna kill me for saying it like this. They're not earpods, AirPods.
AirPods.
But people buy different brands.
Yeah,
that do
but
the
of
same
the
thing.
AirPods, the Bluetooth connecting
Yeah.
wireless thing. What
Okay.
do we feel?
No, so let's say you're in the workplace, right? And you got people around you.
Yeah.
Would you wear them while you're at work?
No.
I used to, yeah.
It also depends on your occupation.
Yeah, 100%.
Say you just work in an open office, like you're an administrator.
You don't deal with clients.
You don't deal with clients. It's all internal, and people like your coworkers are coming in and out, and they're talking to you.
I don't see why not.
Okay, you?
I would wear them religiously when I was in an office setting, and I don't wear AirPods now because I hear that they fry your brain. So I'm anti-AirPods or EarPods or whatever they're called. So I wear anything that has an actual wire. I don't do the wireless anymore.
Oh, like anything magnetic.
Yeah, no, I don't do that.
Okay, so Escalade, he does one. A lot of people do one too, where it's just they can hear other people. Okay, great. So I can deal with that. I can deal with.
But you're talking about wearing both and shutting out society.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's
A lot
awkward.
of people do that where I work now, and I'm like, this is weird. Like, and nobody.
Okay, but this is also coming from a person that likes to talk to everybody. So now everybody has their AirPods in.
Well,
And it's almost like an automatic "shut up, don't talk to me" for
It
you,
is. That's
and you're
exactly what it is.
and you're
Vinny just
offended
said-
by it.
no. I'm not.
No, you're offended by it because it
Vinny
wouldn't.
said, I keep them on so they hug me less. Sometimes I'm not even listening to anything. I can relate to that 100% because sometimes I'll do that.
I always keep
I
one
don't
in,
wanna
especially
talk to
because too late.
anyone.
Well, no, because here's the other thing. I'm not as talkative in this work environment. It's a different
but
thing.
it's still an internal thing for you because you probably also haven't expressed to them.
I'm not gonna tell them
Exactly.
you don't fuck. I don't care. But
it bothered you enough.
no. Here's why it did. Because I sit directly next to somebody that I have to work with.
Oh, and they have their AirPods on.
Both of them on, and so I'll hesitate, like asking something. Yeah.
So just
Oh no, not even that. I'll just direct message them.
yeah.
Oh, you're next to them.
Well, I mean, if that's kind of the way of the thing is you're very old school. You're a tangible person.
I write shit down. That's the other thing. Nobody writes on paper.
And we had that. We had that discussion earlier this week, right? Because you're like, oh, like, is it weird? I said no, because I prefer being able to write something down. Because I remember growing up, like that was even with my daughter. Like when we do homework, I tell her, say the sentence while you're writing it, so you know what you're writing,
Right.
and you can go with it instead of looking at me like, what was the next word I was gonna write? Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like the more repetitiveness that there is within that action, you're able to sink in more with your
Yes.
memory bank, right? Like, all right, cool. I'm saying it in my mind, I'm saying it verbally, and I'm writing it. That's 3 ways of being able to insert it into your brain, right?
Yep.
So you're that type of person. You also have to understand, I'm assuming that the person that you work alongside with is either around the age of Natalie and myself,
she's 10
or
years
younger.
younger than me.
So she's probably more so like, because I do the same thing, and Samantha even says, hey, like, you always have your earbuds and you don't even hear like what we're saying.
Right.
I'm like, no, I always have one on. Like, I always have one off. Like, and even if I have an actual like headphone on,
Yeah.
like through DJing, it's a task that I've learned how to do and escalate.
It's like a part of your body at that
like
point.
I know how to have one ear on and one ear off and be able to communicate on both ends. Now there's times where I just decide not to.
See?
Yeah. Yeah.
But maybe you're not giving that person enough credit that they could actually multitask with both ends.
Oh no, they probably even work better. I think before in different work environments that I would always hear like different people would have like a radio. Even where I worked at before, they had a radio. Remember, I would tell you guys that I was going crazy because they literally played the radio. So I was hearing the same songs like every 20 minutes. And so everybody would play. This is the first place that I walked by and somebody in the shop was playing music on the speaker, and I was like, what? I was like, hey, it's so nice to hear.
That's kind of respectful though, in a sense.
I get that part because not everybody, listens to the same music, and it's, weird
And not
and all that
everybody
stuff.
wants to hear your shit. Samantha and I have talked about this. Like, it's actually one of my pet peeves. I hate when people turn the volume up on their phone all the way and I could hear your TikTok.
I just hate when people talk on the phone on speaker. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Honey,
like,
I don't wanna
first
hear
of
your
all,
conversation."
a phone speaker system is not meant for you to like hear as clear as possible.
Correct.
So the higher you're taking it, the more distorted it sounds.
Yeah.
And I can hear the distortion. I can hear the certain decibels and frequencies that are hitting
Right.
that maybe you don't listen to.
Right.
So it's annoying, especially like I mentioned it, like at the shop, we'll have the TV on.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be on some sports, so we mute the TV. We'll have the radio on,
Right.
But
Right.
then we'll
That's
have
great.
like a teenager on his phone,
I hate
and then
that.
he's turning it up. He goes, "Oh man, I can't hear my phone, motherfucker! You're not here to watch your phone. You're here to get a haircut.
Right.
Maybe try having a conversation or watch the game. Like you're not here.
You're
I'm not
interrupting everyone. There's multiple people in this
like
location.
it's like chaos. There's so much shit going on. Last thing I want to hear is a high-pitched fucking low budgeted type fucking speaker that sounds like shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. But let me tie it back to something that I didn't think about until earlier today that I was talking to my mom and the girls about, right? I think how I put that together, we talked, I think, the last episode about how people now are very lonely. Mm-hmm. People are lonely. It's becoming like it's a thing. Like people are lonely. They have no connections. They can't talk to people, whatever, right?
We're all depressies.
We're all depressed. And then everybody, you can just zone out in your earbuds, whatever the hell, in your headphones, whatever you use.
But that has been
you can zone
around.
out.
Yeah.
It has been around, but I don't think it's been used as much as it is now.
I don't know. Maybe because me growing up and music just being what it is for me,
Mm-hmm.
I've always had headphones on. And when I'm talking like headphones where it was just the wire and the round cup,
So why did you do that?
because of the fact that I love music.
You love music,
I
so-
always, whether I'm cutting the grass, whether I'm working in the garage on something, whether
Right. It was
I'm
an
always-
attachment to you.
And even again at the shop, I always have one in, because again, how many times have you been like, "Hey, we have to have a meeting,"
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and I've been in the meeting with my
One ear
earbud,
on.
cutting someone's hair while you are expressing what we need to know for whatever event we might
Yeah.
have coming. So there's different reasons why people do these things. Seems like your only reason of disliking it is because you don't get to communicate with people the way you would like to.
No, because I actually sometimes use it to I use something else, like the whole Teams being able to direct message people.
Mm-hmm.
That I do that instead of actually going to talk to people in person.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather just send somebody a quick message and here you go, done.
And that makes sense, though, too, because-
then to go and interact with them or engage with them and say, hey, like, I really need this. Like, what do you think about this? That, and have that in-person conversation. It's just a lot easier to do it.
Streamlined.
And it's in
direct,
writing.
quick.
And it's in writing, right?
There's no twisting of words and like, nope, it's right there.
But I think also that in some way, those efficient tools that we have to communicate or the tools that we have to internally focus and shut the world out, right, are also the things that are separating all of us.
I can agree with that.
Like completely. And my family was talking about earlier today was the shooting in Maine, the mass shooting. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to a report this morning on everything that went wrong. That 100% could have been prevented, right? Because there were reports about this person being sick. He was in the hospital with the vets, like everything. They have a policy in the state of Maine to raise a yellow flag so that they could go in there and take the weapons. The family, there were so many red flags with this person and so many opportunities to have stopped this.
We dropped the ball.
Right? And again, I go back to why sometimes people like that do these things, and it goes back to just a disconnection from humanity, a disconnection from
lonely.
people.
They're alone.
And they're lonely, they're mentally struggle. Yeah, disassociate. All of those things contribute to all of that, right?
There's no free will.
That too. I got a couple phone calls about
Listen
the
to our
free will
last
episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you haven't heard it.
It was really good. But so that's what I was thinking about today. And then we were like, well, how do you, if I were the parent of one of those kids, I'm going to fucking sue the sheriff. Because all of this has just been released of everything that went wrong. Like all the people that had an
could have been
opportunity to do it. Yeah, I would sue.
I think just
Like-
in general as a society though, like we dropped the ball on a lot of things. Like one of the things I always tell, like, and I won't give my son a phone. Like he has a phone, but it's like it's just Wi-Fi.
Limited.
It's Wi-Fi enabled. Outside of here, and people are like, oh well, just in case of emergency. Kind of like your when we were talking about Dougie going on that trip, and you're like, well, just in case. Well, in an emergency, she would be focused and not with their head down in the phone trying to contact someone that's not in that general area to protect her.
Right.
She would be actually attentive to what's going on and being able to help herself and other
make
people.
choices.
And that's the problem that we sometimes have, is where we use the excuse of, well, we need it for just in case of emergency.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times we're not using that tool for that reason.
Right.
And it ends up being we're stuck on playing our games, or we're stuck reading emails, and like we don't know when to stop. Like there's no balance, right? There's no awareness. And I think that's why too a lot of the things that are happening within like shit like that, like mass shootings and things like that, is because people also know, like, one, you're going through what you're going through, right? Like you're kind of isolated yourself. But then two, I also know that if I'm isolated, so is everybody else. And even though there's 400 or 500 people in this crowd, none of them are paying attention.
Yeah.
That, and I mentioned like 2 seasons ago when I first went back to school, I was at Chaffey College, and we had to take a safety course on mass shootings and what you're supposed to do. And I was like, oh my God, this is really a thing, right?
Yeah.
But the retired police officer who went in to talk to us, he goes, the only way that we're going to stop this type of behavior is really on a humanitarian level, when we can look each other in the eye day to day, say hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
Can I get you something to eat, homeless person?
Right.
Like that's how you get back to not being in this
Loving.
lonely and cut off
Yeah.
like world.
But-
That's like my
but-
biggest pet peeve too. Is
but
when
we're
people don't say
selfish.
hi. It's like, what the? Why aren't you saying hi? Hello.
Yeah, you've always not like that.
Well, she's a hugger. She's
I want.
she wants
this
you,
connection.
she wants you to look at
Acknowledge
her,
me.
so I could give you a fucking hug. Man.
Like, I'm all staring at you right now. Like,
Yeah.
look at me.
All right, I'm looking. I'm scared.
Yeah, but I also, sorry, Ray, I don't mean to
No,
cut
no,
you
go
off,
ahead.
but I also think that because all of this technology and this way of communicating and working is so new, we just simply don't know how to be, or there's not anything in place to say, like, and not that, like, again, free will and are the choices that we make. I kind of imagine, like, we've been so conditioned to work and to communicate a certain way. Now that there is this completely different shift with this younger generation that has remote working, is plugged into an AirPod, is plugged into their phone 24 hours a day. And so the older generations is like, well, why are you doing that? We don't know. We feel so out of control because we don't know how to bring this younger generation back into a normal society. And so I think in my head, I'm thinking, okay, well, I work remotely. I have to be intentional about how I communicate with people every day, or else I would be lonely as hell.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because my day in and day out is just me.
No, yeah.
And so I have to make a conscious effort to, I'm going to go to this podcast. I'm going to hang out with my family over the weekend. And even during the week, I'm going to go.
You're proactive about it.
Yeah, and I have to make a conscious effort, because if not, it does start getting lonely and it does start getting a little sad. So I have to say, all right, I'm going to go to yoga, and I'm going to make sure that I'm engaging with people. I'm going to look at people in the eye. Or even with cycling, I'm going to make an effort to say hi to so-and-so person, because if I'm not the one that says hi to anyone, no one will say hi to me. And that's how we start disconnecting back to your point of, we have to make an effort to acknowledge one another and say hello and how are you and buy you a sandwich and the whole bit. We have to be willing to do it for ourselves. And I feel like the younger generation, or whoever it is, isn't making that connection of needing that.
They're doing things for themselves, not realizing that it's all for themselves, right? They're not really thinking about their neighbor, maybe,
Right.
Like essentially the way you're going about these things, because you're like, our generation is in that middle ground of understanding the new technology, but also being able to be around to understand, like, passing notes to each other and opening up like a momentum box and having a bunch of different things there, just things that are tangible that we could feel and look back at physically, and not just it's in the cloud storage and shit like that, right? Like you essentially have developed a balance, and that's because you know the two worlds, right? You know what that's like.
Right.
The thing is, these kids
Only know the one.
They only know the one. They don't know what it's like to do Cornell note style on paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Because you got to imagine when we were in school, they were teaching us Excel and all this other shit
How to write in cursive.
that is what they're doing now.
I
And
love that.
kids-
But they don't do that now.
But
They're bringing it
kids now can probably use, in middle school, could probably use Excel a lot better than adults
Oh, hell yeah.
of our generation.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? We're talking about the disconnect in young adults. That guy, the mass shooter, was, I don't know, he was a grown ass man. He was an adult.
Oh,
like older than me.
But there's always going to be the one, right?
And I think it goes back to as well, right? I mean, he was a vet. He had all kinds of a whole
said the
history
word.
of it. But people with like severe depression and anxiety, like when you go deep enough, it's really hard to get yourself out of that, to be able to even have that awareness of what you're talking about, where it's like, I know I need to go and talk to people. I know you can't even get there sometimes because you're
so deep in it.
And then
you're so
sometimes,
deep in it.
Yeah.
Some people you don't know who to trust. Like you don't know if people are really taking what you are expressing serious, right? Because a lot of times we're just like, you like fucking man up.
Yeah.
Stop. Like, and we say that to women and men. Like it's not just like, it's like, man, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone has a different way of dealing with shit. But we've talked about this earlier today, Rick, where it's just like, look, the more you're not honest with yourself, the deeper it's just going to go.
Right.
And you're just contributing to developing a pattern.
And enabling it.
And then you've done it so much that you're starting to believe the lie that you have put out from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not me, it's everybody else. No, it's not. Like, if the whole world is telling you something, then this is perhaps what it is, and you have to kind of
Consider it at the very least.
right? But then again, that goes to like a whole nother world of shit, right? Because then even if you take the technology away from it, that's still going to be there.
Right.
Like today's tech isn't going to change. It won't. I don't think it can make it worse or make it better, to be honest, because we have to be able to use the tools that we have effectively, right? You can be locked in on your phone, but there's podcasts, there's YouTube channels, there's so many different resources that you could actually connect to.
Yeah.
You personally have to be willing to do that,
And explore.
right? So it's just like the issue could probably be that we just don't use our resources correctly.
So it's that not knowing what resources are actually available to us. That's a big thing. But then also to what Nani Brand is saying, the real issue is the breakdown of affordable healthcare in the country, and then reckless gun laws. Healthcare is a very challenging thing for people in this country. It's heartbreaking. But speaking of that, I was so excited today because I found my therapist from 7 years ago.
Okay.
And I just wasn't really happy with the new therapist that I got.
Yeah.
I just wasn't like
Driving.
I don't know. I just felt like she really didn't care.
It was a disconnect.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, let me just check off the boxes and do that. And when you've had really good therapists,
Yeah.
and then you
have
get one
standards.
that's you're like, fuck, okay, damn. So then Kaiser has I have Kaiser, but they have so many needs. They have such a high demand for therapy that they go outside of their network.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, let me see if I can find my old therapist from 7 years ago. And I found her.
Oh, nice.
She accepted me as a return client.
Oh, cool.
And I had my first appointment with her today again. And it was just, it was.
You feel good?
Yeah. But so she was like, all right, cool. Because she, like I said, she remembered me. Because I saw her for like 2 years.
Yeah.
She goes, okay, cool. I heard you vent. I got the gist of everything that you've got going on.
Yeah.
She goes, be prepared to not talk a lot these next 3 sessions that we have.
Okay, so she's gonna give it to you.
Oh,
And she knows you.
yes.
The don't talk part.
Yeah, because she told me, she goes, this session, you need to just give it to me all. Give it to me straight. What's been going on? What you need to cover? What you need to fix? And just all of it. She goes, you're gonna talk for 30 minutes, and then the last 15 minutes, I'm gonna give you my assessment, what I think, and then what the game. Oh,
she already knows what you need.
I was like, yes,
nice.
Oh, that's my alarm.
Nice. I like that.
So do you?
Yeah.
Is there gonna be like a process of revisiting? Because
past things?
Yeah, because you've had her, so she'll be able to like. I would assume that she'll be able to actually see the progression.
Oh yeah.
A lot better than your last one, right? Because she was like, oh wow, like based off of what I knew from
Before
the previous encounters we had, this wouldn't have been you.
Right. No, she definitely saw the jump because I was with her after a terrible breakup. With he was a vet too. Remember Ripton?
Yeah. I remember.
So that was, but then before my Aunt Rosie died, so she didn't get to hear the Aunt Rosie part.
You were in the middle of everything.
I was in the middle of everything, and that's actually why I had stopped going, because my Aunt Rosie was dying, and I lost track of all of the appointments, everything. Like it was just
life was happening.
I just stopped. Right, life was happening. So yeah, we just went through the whole thing, and it felt, and this is what I mean by like I love her, because she knew me enough to say, cool, give it to me 30 minutes and then I'm going to give you a game plan. So her assignment to me is I have to read, and you let me borrow it, The Untethered Soul.
I love The Untethered Soul. 10 out of 10 recommend. Anyone that comes out of the womb needs to read this book.
Yeah, so she's
Read
like,
it and then let me reborrow it because I want to reread it.
she was like, read it, do the exercises.
Yeah.
And then she had me research some other, she's like, I forgot what it's called, but it's about breathing exercises and how to create boundaries for myself.
Good.
Just with emotions that I'm picking up even from people that I don't know, or that I'm I was just outstanding. I'm so excited. And you know what? And I gave thanks. I was like, oh God, I said thank you that I have medical insurance, and thank you that I have this opportunity, because a lot of people don't have access to these resources.
Yeah. And do you get that for free? Like with your Kaiser?
I used to. Oh no. I don't have to pay for. There is no copay for my therapy. No.
Oh, that's good.
Kaiser covers it.
Listen, I have United Healthcare, and each therapy session I get it discounted, but I pay $75 per session.
Ew.
Yeah, and then my initial, so I was seeing a psychotherapist and then a family therapist.
Yeah.
So the psycho one was $200 a session.
Oh wow.
It's expensive for me.
Ew.
Yeah, it's a lot.
No, mine are free.
No.
I know.
Well, not free, but
Apple is actually really good with theirs.
Apple. Mm-hmm. What do you mean Apple?
Apple, the company. Like
like their insurance?
With their benefits?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's part of like. I think they actually provide it for their employees in general.
So my company was providing it for us, like just for the employees, so I didn't have to pay anything for it. But they just recently were like, hey, we were looking at our finances. You do not have to pay for your own medical insurance. So I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. You know,
yeah.
I got it.
Insurance is insurance.
Insurance is insurance, but
and no matter what, like you and not a brand or something, it's expensive.
It is.
Yeah,
it's insane.
But the good thing is that you can do these online now, because she was from Ontario. She moved out to Redlands. I was like, shit, I'll drive out there. I don't give a shit. But she doesn't. She doesn't see anyone in person. Everything is on video, which is perfectly fine. Like, I'm cool with that.
I never knew about that until one time. Actually, a couple of times. Me and Rick would be like on our way to an event, and she'd be like, "All right, Ray."
Oh yeah.
I was like, she's like, "Can you drive today?" And we'll be in her car, and I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
Are you taking a session?
Yeah, she'll be like in the front seat. She'll have her laptop up, have her headphones in, and she's like in the middle of a session. And I'm like,
really?
But you want to know what's weird about that? I've done that with Ray, and I've done that with Severe.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but it's weird because I had no problem doing it with them in the car.
I was just gonna say that.
But my daughters.
Okay.
I was like, get out.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I don't even want you in the second room.
I was just gonna say, like, get all the way out. Leave the house.
Leave the house, which is strange because
that's a different type of vulnerability.
It was really strange because I mean they know my shit. Like they live with it, but I just couldn't do it. And I realized that today. I was like, I get out of the nowhere. Bye.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because I couldn't. I actually prefer even to go into the office. And again, and that's because of my particular situation of working from home.
Oh, yeah.
And the therapist has told me, she's like, you know, you can do this. You can just book this and you can do it remotely. And I'm like, no, I need to come in and see you. I work from home. I need to get out of the house. Oh, no, yeah, girl, you come in. I'm like, yeah, I'll see you next week.
Yes.
See, that's cool though. That like there's some that are understanding of that balance, right? Because like I was going to mention earlier, I remember talking to Amy, because Amy works from home too, and I was like, so how does that work for you, right? Because I remember right when everything shut down, I was actually working with my friend Maricela, and we were literally in the middle of a shoot when Trump announced the travel ban.
Oh.
And then like everything just shut down from like that next week, right?
Yeah.
So I had like 6 episodes that I had to compile and put together, and I had nowhere to go. Like I would go to Starbucks, or I would go hit like some type of like co-working office,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
and work on it, right?
Yeah.
But now I was like, I had to work on it from home with my wife in the living room, the kids in there,
Yeah.
and them not understanding that like Dad's not just in.
You're working.
Like Dad's not just on the computer
Yeah.
bullshitting. Like I'm actually working on this. And I was like, I don't know how people can do that shit. Because then it's just like, you just stare. Like there was times where I was just like staring at, again, you're talking 6 episodes, but each episode had like 2-3 different segments in it.
Hell
so
yeah.
I had to grab footage from everything and then look at it. And you're talking like hours.
You're watching it.
And this whole time, I'm not realizing, because that space in the house is like in the center of the house. There's
Right.
no windows. There's no nothing.
Oh, no,
So
no.
I had to close the door to kind of let the kids know
I'm working.
I'm working right now, right? So I'll come on like, damn, it's fucking dark outside. Like, and I didn't realize like it'd be like 4 or 5 in the morning till whatever time it got dark. And
You
I'm
have
just
no,
like,
yeah.
so I had to ask Amy, like, dude, like, I couldn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
how do you do it? And she had mentioned that, like, she just, like, she approaches it like a normal job. It's like, I still wake up at this certain time.
You have to have routine.
I get in the shower, get ready. I got to do it, like, because if not, you can. It's easy to just fall into that weird hole. And it's just
Yeah.
like, ah, man,
Yeah.
I
The
don't want
abyss.
to do shit.
Yeah. And I definitely think it's not for it. It varies by situation. I feel like if I had preteens or just a 5 through 10-year-old child, I do not think I'd be able to work from home. Even now with DeLuca, who's, how old is he, 15, 16 months? I have to leave. And I have to go to the co-working spaces downstairs, because if not, I can't get anything done.
Well, yeah, because
Right.
they don't,
He's a
They don't
toddler.
know.
They
Yeah,
don't
they
understand.
don't know.
I think at that time, my son's 12, that was 3, so he was 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
He, like, even him, he was just like going around
Yeah.
pretending to be whatever the hell he was. And then my daughter, being like, she was only like 4 at the time, so she's just, they're being loud, and you can't tell them, like, shut up, stop being a
They don't
kid.
understand.
It's like, you want to.
Right.
But you, like, you're just an ass if you do.
Right. And you don't want to purposely be ignoring them and think that like the computer or whatever it is that you're doing is more important than they are. So you physically have to leave.
Yeah.
But it's also that, like, damn, well, if I don't get this done,
Right. And I ain't getting paid.
you ain't gonna be able to be screaming and shouting
Yeah,
under a roof.
Exactly. So then what? Are you wearing headphones or not? I don't think we ever got this settled.
I don't think I've ever seen you with a head. Like,
I do wear it. I do wear it.
You wear one.
I wear. Okay, so here's the thing. I also don't know how to turn off the
The cancellation.
the noise cancellation.
Oh,
That's
okay.
scary as shit.
Yeah.
Because I'll be walking and I have both of them in, and you can't hear shit.
Yeah, you're
And I'm
like in airplane mode.
I'm like, this is a safety issue. So I'm not. So that's why I always just wear the one. But I started. I tried. I'm doing it at work. I'll wear one.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you doing it to fit in, or are you doing it for, like, is there some type? I would assume the reason why you're doing it is that there's some type of benefit to it.
I'm actually trying to understand why people do it. That's why I'm doing it. Because it's not. If it was up to me, I would have my little speaker and I would just have my music in the background.
But that's not that type of
So,
environment.
but
right?
here's but in the other environments that I worked in, I did that. I could do that, right? I didn't do that at the last place because I just didn't want to. and the ladies had the radio, and I was just not like.
Except for shout out to you and the señoras.
When you would go on Twitch.
I would go on Twitch. They put
Okay.
We would blast it in the office because one of the ladies that I worked with, her brother's a DJ, so I was explaining to them about Twitch and all that stuff, right? Cool. So that was a good time.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't want to like push things any more than that because I wanted to make sure that I could do that.
Yeah.
So I think me doing it, I think I'm just trying to like test it out.
Yeah, you want to see if it works for you.
Because I do like listening to something in the background. Now, the lady who works next to me, she listens to podcasts while she's working. I can't do that. I can't listen to something
I do
like
that.
to people
Yeah.
when I have to have music or something that can help me focus. Podcasts, audiobooks, when I'm on the drive, easy work. That's when I can focus on them and listen. But it does get annoying because I have not mastered leaving it in and being able to talk to someone.
Oh no,
I'll take it out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they can leave it
So
in.
like even so like pausing it, leaving it in, and then talking.
I'll stop it. Yeah, I'll pause it. But I'll still find myself taking it off. So it's something that takes, it's something that, because I don't want to miss what they're telling me. And then also, I do think it's rude. I think if you're coming up to me and you're going to talk to me and I still have this thing in my ear, do I have your undivided attention?
Right. Are you still listening to that
And I
podcast?
hope to God you're not going to make me repeat myself because you weren't listening and I got to explain this shit 20 minutes from now.
As time goes by, we'll learn how to understand that. Right?
Understand what?
That people can multitask in that aspect, like keep.
But there's actually no such thing as multitasking.
I guess not, but can you
In
breathe?
the literal terms.
You could breathe and walk.
Yeah, but breathing is not something that requires, like, we do a lot of automated breathing. Like, literally, that's the other thing. We just automated breathing.
Okay. So
like,
what about?
but we're not really,
what
like,
about when you
profound
run?
breathing. That's focused breathing.
But it's still.
But
that's still
it's
a task.
autonomous, though. But it's autonomous to your body. Like, it's your functioning body. I'm talking about multitasking when you're like, oh, I'm like taking notes and then trying to take an order, like that kind of multitasking. Or having a conversation with someone while trying to hook up equipment, right? You're not really doing both things
I don't
perfectly.
know, because I could be honest with you. There's times that I've been at the shop and I'll tell, like, I'm like, hey, I'm going to work on this. And I'll tell you guys, like, yo, I got a full day at the shop. I don't know when I'm going to have this episode done and sent to you. But while I say that, I'm editing the episode, have an AirPod in. And I say AirPod or earbud because I don't have AirPods, okay? I actually have earbuds.
AirPod.
But
20 different variations.
I'll be editing something, cutting my client's hair, and like listening to all that all at the same time. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there is ways of being able to do it. You obviously aren't efficient the first time you do it, but.
So, as multiple studies have confirmed, true multitasking, doing more than one task at the time, is a myth.
At the same time.
People who think they can split their attention between multiple tasks at once aren't actually getting more done.
Yeah. I mean,
Which kind of reads funny because you're doing it.
Right.
The acts are doing it.
Yeah.
See,
But
I'm doing two jobs.
Natalie
half-assed.
Brand says like background music or doodling sometimes help people focus.
I'm a doodler.
So it's almost like
hardcore doodler.
Remember when they started bringing out like fidget toys
Yes.
for people? Like it's a form of
Of course.
consoling, I guess. Like you just like
For your anxiety.
Yeah.
like because everyone has some
Just
type
kinda
of
self-soothe.
compulsiveness.
It's Google. Mia Lee Arellano. It's Google. She wants me to cite my sources.
But getting more done according to who? I think LA Amy, you're right on that if I'm reading it correctly. But getting more done according to who? I don't feel like I'm actually getting more done. I'm just doing the task.
Yeah,
And
because
I-
you still got to do it.
Yeah, I tell Mike all the time, like, I feel whenever I have to work and watch DeLuca, I'm doing two jobs horribly at the same time. I'm not giving DeLuca attention and I'm not giving my job attention.
That's it. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say with like the multitasking thing.
You're being efficiently ineffective.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. For me, that's it.
And I know that feeling.
Yeah,
Like when
and
you're
then you feel
doing-
like shit.
You do. I hate
Yeah, I
that.
feel like my poor fucking child doesn't have my full attention. My job, I just found like 20 misspellings or 20 corrections that need to be recorrected because I decided that I wanted to tackle on both.
So it's safe to say that we just come up with terms that have no meaning.
Oh yeah.
There's really no
Multitask. What is this?
Oh,
What is this?
Mealy, that comes from a study at the University of Michigan.
There you go.
I'm gonna just send you the link. Send you the study.
Read up on it. Clearly, there was a debate prior to this conversation.
we have discussed multitasking. We have.
But then again, too, opinions are subjective,
Yeah.
right? Because we could look at scientific shit, but we could also look at scientific things in other subjects, and people are still baffled or like, no, that's not true. You know what I mean? So it's just like it just depends what we want to actually believe, I guess. Our truths, Ricky Lee, as you would say.
Right, which is what we believe. So here, look what I just learned. There are 3 forms of multitasking that you need to be aware of. Multitasking, attempting to do 2 or more tasks simultaneously. Context switching back and forth between tasks. I like this one. Attention residue, performing a number of tasks in rapid succession. But they each have serious impacts in our ability to do good work.
You know where I find that I multitask the most is when I'm cooking. I like to think that while I'm cooking, I can do the dishes, I can do the laundry, I can sweep,
And
I
then,
can mop.
and it's all centralized too.
It's all centralized, and then at the end, when I'm done cooking, the meal tastes like shit. And I know I need to
No.
stop doing it, but I do this every single fucking day because I think that I can do it.
Do you think, like, so if maybe we should try this out, Ricky Lee? Maybe our next episode we're gonna have to do live from the multi-residence.
A cooking,
Say
so,
yes.
so that we could figure this
Yeah.
out, because then we also understand that we oftentimes are our own worst critics when it comes to certain things, right? Like because you know what you missed, or
I'm gonna purposely
like,
oversalt.
right? So it's just like you're saying, like, oh, this should taste horrible because I
Yeah.
had my mind on everything else. You
Yeah.
knew what was going on during the process of creating this dish. But if you had Ricky and I there to taste it and give you an unbiased decision,
I hope you do.
we would be like, nah, dude, maybe you're fucking tripping because that actually didn't taste bad for considering.
I would
Yeah,
be so embarrassed. I
would-
couldn't do that.
I would probably agree with Ray. That's probably what would happen, but on a totally different level, being mindful of it, like honoring what you're doing. Right? Cool. Yeah, you could be doing the laundry and mopping and cleaning and dishes and cooking at the same time. Sure, but don't stress yourself out. Honor, and I'm actually, what made me think about this was Vinny, and I don't even know how he cooks or what he's doing, but all the stuff that he sends us, it just looks like there was a dedicated time and attention devoted to it.
Real effort.
Yeah, like consciousness, mindfulness when preparing a meal. So it allows you to practice gratitude, right? Because you have this opportunity to cook a meal,
Right.
but then you go into it.
Yeah.
And then nothing else
Full-heartedly.
is going on, and you enjoy it differently at the
Yes.
And I think you
Yes.
have to enjoy cooking, right? Like, because I've had this hope,
Yes,
I hope
also yes.
Hope Samantha doesn't have this on speaker. Disclaimer, Samantha, if you have this on speaker, turn it down.
Turn it down, girl.
Put on your AirPods. but we have this discussion because this is like, people will complain about other people not liking their food, right? But it's just like, you're complaining that other people aren't liking your food, but while you're cooking it, you're complaining about having to cook it.
Yeah.
So there's no there's like a transfer of energy, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
When dealing with that.
For
So it's just
sure.
like, dude, like, I could tell there was no enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
So when I tasted, I could taste the lack of enjoyment.
Right.
Or the lack
yes,
of
the
wanting
lackluster.
to do it. Like,
Yep.
I'm not, it tastes like your bad attitude.
1,000%.
There's a movie called Like Water for Chocolate that came out
Ooh,
1,000 years ago,
Yeah.
and is
Haven't
it Like
seen that.
Water for Chocolate?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
I think it's a different one. I'm
Como
thinking,
agua para
but
chocolates in Spanish too, right?
it addresses like the emotions go into the food,
Mm-hmm.
like.
Like,
If something's really spicy, homegirl was mad or upset
yeah.
or whatever. It just
because me personally, I love cooking.
Yeah.
And Samantha would probably be like, well, you don't do it enough. I think I do. I just don't, like,
she's like, yes.
I don't, like, even yesterday, I was like, fuck it, we're having carne asada. Like, we still have leftover, like, rice and shit. Let me just go get some meat and some chicken and we're straight.
Yeah.
Even that, like, I enjoy it. Like, it's like the process of getting the mesquite and lighting it up. And even my daughter's like, what are you doing with that oil and that paper? It's like, Mom, I gotta ignite the charcoal. And she's like, And then she'll see me like waving it. She goes, "You're gonna turn it off?" I was like, "No, I'm actually spreading it because that's how you spread the heat."
Yeah, the
Like,
flame.
yeah, so like just the process of knowing how to barbecue or knowing how to cook something. Because like even breakfast, I this week has been horrible because I have not had my normal breakfast.
We haven't gotten any breakfast pics.
I haven't. Like it's like, oh fuck. There's even a time where even Vinny's like, "Yo, what the kind of fucking paycheck are you giving this guy? He has avocado on everything."
Oh yeah, avocados on everything.
It's like I'll make a breakfast sandwich with avocado. I'll make like a omelet and make sure I have cheese. And I like
avocado.
I like to grill my cheese on the placa and then drop the omelet on top of it.
Okay.
And it's just a whole process.
It is.
Like
It
everything
really is.
has
Cooking is a process.
everything has a flavor. Like
Yeah.
you can you want cold ass cheese, or do you want like the flavor of all the ingredients that you had on that skillet in the cheese?
Yes.
So when you first bite the
Yes,
cheese
please.
and get into the egg, it's just like
Look,
uncracking.
I'm with
Breakfast
doing
is my
the
favorite.
next episode in the morning breakfast at Natalie's house.
While cooking.
Or you could. My favorite thing that you do prepare is your guacamole.
Okay, but I can't fuck that up.
No, you can't. It's always great.
But I mean that in the sense that like all of it requires chopping. And
No,
so, like,
I've
and,
had
like,
it out.
some. No,
Check
I've
it out.
had some bad guacamole.
So guess what, Nat?
I've had bad guacamole.
I have your fucking perfect solution, and I'm not even gonna send it to you. I'm just gonna fucking buy it for you, dude.
Okay. Let's
Because
hear it.
I got you know, Samantha. It's the domestication. Ricky Lee.
Welcome.
I was like, fuck. Like I like my hash browns come out the way they do because I have the regular like shredder, but then like there's other shit that I'll put,
Yeah.
and everything is diced perfectly, and it's not because I'm dicing.
Is it a food processor? Is it the chopper?
I have a fucking chopper that like you just plop,
It makes
plop,
sense
plop.
that he would want perfectly chopped. Every piece of chop
And
is
you
the same.
you can
I do too, though.
go you can go with like a bigger chop, or you can go with more of a
No, I like
finer
the fine.
chop.
I always like
and
fine
it's
chops.
just like
Oh, you can change it. You can change the
you
chop
change
size.
you change the blade out, and it's just a plastic container on the bottom. You put I don't encourage using the grater. I almost fucking slice my whole fucking hand. I'd rather use the old school grater. But this thing, like, I'll just get I'll prep my ingredients. I'll chop them to like the size that I would need it to be to fit on the blade. But once I do that, it's like bow. You just like one after another chopping, and you have like a whole thing of celery all chopped nicely. There's not like some longer than the others. Like it's
Okay, I'm gonna tell you how old I am.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to go to the fair.
you used to do it with the rock.
No. Oh wow, man.
Heats up the rock. She grabs the machete.
She used to get the other rock and sharpen it with the other rock.
You got me with the machete.
All right, girl. What'd you do, girl? What'd
We
you
used to
do?
go to the LA County Fair,
With
and they would
Jesus?
have. I can't with you guys.
Ricky, we do it because you know what? You just,
I'm an easy
you love
target.
us.
Samantha Rochelle, tell the kids grandma said hi.
I'm an easy target. I make it way too easy for you guys, and I just walk right into everything.
You do.
Just being honest and vulnerable.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
go
you
ahead,
for
go ahead,
allowing this.
go ahead.
That's where they used to premiere like the new technology or like the new cooking utensils. Like
Yeah.
that's like before infomercials and all of that stuff. Like that's where you would go to get the chopper.
Yeah.
And you would have those
At
guys
the-
like showing you how to do
Yeah.
it, and
everyone would crowd around.
yeah,
You know what's funny is
that was it.
I ended up buying Samantha one year because we were broke, and I don't know if she remember. I know she remembers the thing I bought her, but I was like, yo, this is only this much, and it's pretty cool. Like we could use it for ourselves. It was one of those fucking whisks, but like you pump the whisk and it spins by itself.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
So like I had like it came with like 2 different sizes, and I learned about that because I was walking around Kmart at the time.
Oh, Kmart
And you know Kmart always like
on 4th Street.
yeah.
R.I.P. Kmart.
Homeboy was like fucking. He had his microphone on his ear.
Yes.
And he was like, he was just demonstrating. I was like, yo, that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Samantha...
Sold you.
Yeah, I don't know if Samantha was like, oh, this is awesome. But I was like, I don't give a fuck if you like
You
the
were
gift.
excited.
I was fucking... Like, I get excited for dumb shit like that.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, fuck it. I'm in. I got it. I was excited for the free chamois to like wipe
Yes.
down the
Oh,
counter.
yeah.
They would always add a free thing,
Yeah.
a tiny little thing.
Yeah. And the chamois was a big hit for a long
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
Like, look at
Chamois. Yeah.
swoop it all up in one
Yeah.
action.
And then once you're done, you can use it on your car.
Yeah.
Right?
No
Like the
now-
whole thing.
Now you can just go to any car wash and grab one from the machine for $1.
Yeah. Chamois. Oh man. All right. Well, enough Jesus talk and how we've evolved.
How she parted
the
the
last
7
2
C's
hours.
with the rock. Her shoes were made out of leather straps and they weren't even
yes.
tires.
Oh
They
man.
didn't have tires back then, huh?
No, Chevrolet.
And Chevrolet.
You know,
Chevrolet.
there was a hilarious reel on I think on TikTok or Instagram this week about someone that was Jesus, and they had those they did a what are those automatic skateboards? So they were on a
like the
skateboard,
hoverboard?
yeah, like a hoverboard, and then they decorated it. It was a big old cloud, and then they were carrying around like a bread, and they were actually handing it out. Oh my god, it was hilarious.
We need that. We need that type of comedy.
Yeah, we do.
be
People
good.
need to
Yeah, when life gets
Loosen
too
up.
stale, you know.
make fun of Ricky.
Yeah. Ricky, thank you for making yourself available.
I'm never sharing these stories again.
No, you have to. Look,
That's
it
a
makes
fun-
for great content.
First of all, we know that's a lie.
I know.
We know that's
It's
a
all
lie.
temporary.
This is going to give us all the hits on
saying,
Podbean
man.
and Spotify and all that. All right, you guys. Have a great, I was going to say happy Friday. Have a nice night. Have a great weekend. We're going to be celebrating my birthday
When
on
is your
Saturday.
actual birthday?
It's on a Tuesday. It's the 7th. It's
Okay,
it's
cool.
on election day. Make sure you guys vote for my birthday. It's very important.
That's what we're voting for.
Yes.
Natalie, we're putting you on the ballot.
We're not on the left or the right. We're going right down the middle for Natalie.
Yes, you must. And what else is happening? That's it, right?
Yeah.
Do we have any news?
Yeah.
We'll see you next
No,
Friday.
We'll see you next Friday.
All right, you guys.
Yay.
Today's episode was produced live by Raymond Andrew at Rose City Sound Studio with your host, myself, I'm Natalie, and Ricky Lee Motat. Jesus. For inquiries, topic
Jesucita.
suggestions, and sponsorships, please email us at onthisfrequency@gmail.com. On This Frequency is available where all podcasts can be streamed. Watch a live stream recording every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch at twitch.tv/onthisfrequency. I can't get tired of saying it. If you missed our live stream, you can watch past episodes on YouTube. You can also check the show notes for the video link to this episode. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Do you want more ways to support your favorite podcasters? You can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/onthisfrequency. And I know we have a lot of new listeners, new followers,
Yes,
and
thank you.
subscribers. Thank you guys so much. If you liked this content, I liked what we had to say, please leave us a review on Spotify, on Apple Music, I think
Googles.
on YouTube, everywhere.
Oh, yeah, YouTube.
Leave
I
us-
like our YouTube thing.
Yeah, I love it. Watch us there, subscribe, like, share it with a friend. All right, you guys enjoy your night. Bye.
Vénganse, vénganse. Vamos a jugar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a cantar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a llorar hoy, hoy, hoy. Vamos a fumar